Hi, how are you? I'm a freaking raptors from Jurassic Park. I was invited to be here by your old friend Mark Pubate. Lots of people kept asking Mark Pubate about whether to buy the new MacBook Pro right now, or sometimes they are hesitant because the MacBook Pro has come halfway here, or should we wait for a new generation for the new MacBook Pro with the solid state drive or USB 3.0? Well, you know what? I'm in the middle of Jurassic Park, so I know all the things about the MacBook Pro. I would suggest if you want to buy the MacBook Pro, okay, and now you already have your computer at home, I would suggest for the new MacBook Pros or even the MacBook White, I would suggest you should wait, okay, for the update of the MacBook Pro. For all I know, it's expected to be released sooner than the end of April next year, for all I know. Okay, and but if you don't have any computer right now, and you're really keen to buy a Mac at the moment because you need to work on it, don't procrastinate because procrastination is the major thief of time. Don't speculate to the future. You speculate to the day of your life because you need a Mac and you have to work on it. I would suggest for now the best Mac to buy is supposed to be the iMac, and comes secondly with the Mac Mini, thirdly the MacBook Air, and lastly the MacBook Pros and MacBook White. Okay, so for all I know, I can't promise whether Apple gonna put the Apple i3 processor inside the new MacBook Pro that will be released very soon. I can't promise that because I have spoken to a number of Apple engineers in Jurassic Park Edge, and they told me that if they add that i3 processor, it will drain the battery real quick. Okay, pretty much the same reasons why the CEO of Apple didn't put the flash capabilities into their devices because for some reason of the battery life. Okay, but you might get better graphic card or probably solid state drive. You know what? We've been having the solid state drive several years ago, but back in several years ago, they were very expensive. So it thinks the huge improvement over the prior features of the new MacBook Pro supposed to be probably they might change the hard drive to solid state, or you might get exactly the same SATA spinning hard drive, but they might be cheaper. Okay, because you know what? At the moment, you can put the Western Digital hard drive into an existing Mac, running at 5,400 RPM at the capacity of probably 750 gigabytes for 2.5-inch hard drive. So, you know what? Lots of people send mails back to my, May social ages and Jurassic Park ages, and then they ask me about, well, if is it possible if if Steve Jobs or Apple CEO was probably put in the solid state drive in the news upcoming MacBook Pros 2011. I said, well, I have no clues, baby. I really can't promise about that. Okay. Well, all I know is I need some, hot flashes to eat. So I can't promise about a solid state drive. Okay. Because if they put solid state drive in the new MacBook Pro, I think it's a great deal. But what about the selling points of the MacBook Air? If people don't buy MacBook Air because the portability reason anymore, that's the first reason. And secondly, what about the USB 3 that they can't promise? Okay, and then wait to see. So the conclusion of this nonsense video is, if you want to buy the MacBook Pro but you're not in a rush, if you're not in a hurry, don't buy the MacBook Pro now, including the MacBook White. I would suggest you should wait a bit longer. Okay, but if you want to buy the MacBook Air, it's fine. The iMac is fine, Mac Pro is fine, the Mac Mini is fine. Also the iPod. Now the best iPod that I would suggest is the iPod Touch, whether 8 or 32 gigabytes. I think the iPod Touch 8 GB is a very great value because it's extremely cheap, but it has exactly the same processor found in iPod Touch bigger capacity or even the iPhone or iPad or even Samsung Galaxy or even the V game console. I think it's a great deal. It's great values. I would not suggest you buy the iPod Nano because it looks awkward for that screen. It doesn't support video playback. Also, if you are an Apple fan, I would suggest you should buy the iPod Classic because it's leaving Apple product line. In the future, you may not find the iPod Classic anymore. So that's the thing. Okay, for the iPhone 4, I would say hold on. Wait for the iPhone 5 generation because they will fix the antenna problems and this time it will be a perfect device in the world. But of course, they're going to release a new iPad with a camera. So the choice is yours. Goodbye.